Evening, everyone. Welcome to Tarot Thursday. This is Reverend Mary Hawk, and my guest tonight is Reverend Don Lewis. And we are here to do short tarot readings and conversation. Reverend Don, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Always a pleasure to have you. And how are you this evening?
I'm good, thank you. How are you this evening?
I'm also well.
Good.
Slowly getting organized here.
Yay.
Yes, yay. Anyway, for people watching, if you have a question you'd like a tarot reading on, please go ahead and post it in chat. Or just tell us hello. We'd love to hear from you. And you want to tell us a little bit about the book you're working on. Hey, Renee, good to see you.
Hello, Renee. Yes, I'm working on the Corellian Book of the Dead. I am moving along with it as quickly as I can. And it talks about the rites and rituals of the dead. It talks about the nature of working with spirits and how to do so. And it talks about the concept of conscious incarnation and the reincarnational sciences. And it's coming along.
Now, what is the release date?
Hi,
Jan.
Let me double check that.
And I'm asking you because while I know it's in November, I can't remember the exact date.
It's November 11th, I believe.
Okay.
I just want to quickly double check and make certain that I am in fact accurate. I am. It's the 11th. And the 11th has been a very important date for us. So we've done a number of things on the 11th over the years, so it seemed like a natural time to bring out the book.
All right. And Renee wants a reading about the meaning behind the dreams she's having.
Okay.
All right. You could have made the deck a trifle smaller. It would have been easier for those of us with small hands. And it's nice to have you here with us, Jan. So glad you joined us.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. The first card I have is the Six of Cups, which fell out as I was shuffling. And the Six of Cups is influences from your past. So I would say these dreams have something to do with events from Renee's past, possibly repeating patterns from the past that may come into the future. It's not just the past as such, but the past coming into the future, the past being a guide to what is coming in the life. Now, with that, we have the Ten of Cups, which is happiness, happy family. We have the Seven of Coins. The Seven of Coins is thinking about the different options that are there and taking time to grow them. And the Princess of Wands, which says that whatever these dreams refer to is almost upon you, but not there yet. And again, they have to do with happiness in the future, but also, some time waiting for that future to take its shape, but almost there. And the Six of Cups says that future will be strongly influenced by the past. So there you go.
Okay, well, the first card I've got for you is the universe. So this is always a fortunate card coming up in a reading, and it is talking about a fortunate outcome coming at the end of a cycle, usually. Then I have the Ace of Cups. So we've got a lot of Cups energy because I think you drew 2
Yep.
Cups cards. So a lot of energy around your emotions. And the Ace is also a fortunate card when it comes to emotional energy, saying things are going to come up well. And then we've got the Fluffy card. And I'm sure you remember me talking about with this deck, Reverend Don gave us the option to commission a personal card. And my dear friend Fluffy did just that. You can see the wolf has lost a foot. And Fluffy did this right after he had to have a foot amputated for medical reasons. And this card is about transformation because he took what a lot of people would have viewed as a very negative experience, kind of viewed it as a reason, to put living on hold, even. And he used it as a time of spiritual transformation. So even if you are experiencing something negative right now, this card calls you to use that experience for transformation. So I hope you find that helpful, Renee. And hello, Eve, who's giving us greetings from Ohio. So I'll tell you hello from Tennessee. And if anyone else has a question for us, please go ahead and post it in chat. And thank you all for joining us tonight. You are welcome, Renee.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, you can have a reading, Jan. Do you have a specific question or do you want a general reading? Okay. All righty. So you want to know about marriage and financial. Ugly truths learned, yes. But at least you're learning the truth. And it is my turn to go first. So the first card we've got here is the Three of Pentacles. And, well, the way I'm doing the light tonight is just making the cards come out a little dark. And I don't want to fiddle with the light too much. But with the Three of Pentacles, it's a call to look at your finances and examine things closely. Then we have the Queen of Swords. Yes, it's me. Remember me mentioning just a moment ago that we had the opportunity to commission a card, and I asked Reverend Don to draw me as the Queen of Swords because this card has been coming up to represent me for over 30 years at this point. And the Queen of Swords represents communication, it represents overcoming obstacles. So speak your truth in this situation. And then I've got the Eight of Wands. And what we see here are people running away in the dark, but they're not really looking at what's there. And it could be a lot worse. So I'm going to draw one more card as Reverend Don has taught me. And I've got the Empress. And this is a strong feminine card. And it's usually a card of good fortune. And in this context, I'm going to say it's a lot about reclaiming your own energy here. Your turn.
Well, the first card I drew, it's actually two cards. First, the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is passion. It is a lot of energy going into the situation. We usually think of cups as emotion, but this is also an emotional card. It's a different kind of emotion. With it came the mind. And the mind is thinking. The mind is reasoning through the situation, analyzing the situation, not allowing an emotional reaction to overcome your thinking reaction. So these two together tell me that Jan is very passionate about the situation, but also needs to set some of that aside to examine it closely, to think her way through it, and to make sure she clearly understands what she's seeing. With that, we have the Ten of Lamps. And the Ten of Lamps is enlightenment, coming to fuller understanding, coming to wisdom. And the comment was made about ugly truths learned. I would say this represents knowledge having come to the fore of things that were formerly not clear. And with that also is the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups tends to be sorrow or unhappiness. So that knowledge has caused a certain amount of negative emotion. Now, of course, I don't know what knowledge we're actually talking about, nor do I need to. But it has caused a certain amount of negative emotion. But in dealing with it, you need to use the mind. So let us draw another couple of cards. We've drawn the Ten of Wands, and we're drawing the Princess of Wands, and we're drawing the Five of Swords. So the Ten of Wands is basically waiting for things to move forward and saying, you know, things may not move forward here immediately. They may have been stalled for a while. Take your time, do what's necessary to find the right way through it. The Princess of Swords says, or I'm sorry, the Princess of Wands, interesting little slip there, but the Princess of Wands is a situation almost ready to move. So yeah, there's some waiting. It's also right on the verge. And again, we have the Five of Swords, which is feeling oppressed or held back, and basically a lot of negative emotion around the situation. So approach it with thought, give it what time it needs to get the right outcome, but the outcome is almost there, and I wouldn't call it a happy outcome, But let's draw one last card for it. Not a happy outcome, but a significant outcome. We've drawn the Tower, which is change. But if you look at the card, you'll see that the figure, which represents the soul, is breaking free from the tower of its incarnations. Or in this case, a person breaking free from a situation that has constrained them, perhaps deceived them. And so what's coming is a breaking free and liberation. But happy, I don't know that I'd call it that, at least initially. But by all means, go through it with your mind leading the way, and do not simply feel your way through it. And that is what the cards tell me.
I hope that's helpful, Jan.
Yeah,
And I wish you all the best dealing with this.
absolutely.
Okay, does anyone else have a question for us? You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Jen.
Yeah, we might also mention that a month from today will be Reverend Don Samhain ritual.
Calling the ancestors.
Calling the ancestors, 8 p.m.
Here on Pagan World TV.
Yes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the purpose of the ritual?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a Samhain ritual, and honoring the ancestors is part of it, but also bringing through messages from the ancestors, connecting with the ancestors and building our relationship with them, and helping to connect still more tightly between the worlds. You know, in Correllianism, we always say that we're one family on both sides of the veil, and part of this is to strengthen that, as should everything we be doing should have that effect.
Wonderful. And Edward is asking about job prospects. So yes, we can pull a few cards about your job prospects.
Okay.
I believe you go first.
So the first card that I've drawn is the Three of Coins. The Three of Coins is mastery of craft. It is a good position. It's exactly what you'd want in a job question. So it's saying that the prospects are in fact very good. And in the picture, you can see the sculptor is making a sculpture of the woman in the foreground. He is actively participating in his job. And so for job prospects, that's a very positive card. With it, we have the Three of Lamps, which in a different sort of story is the same basic meaning. In this case, you can see the lady in the card is interacting with other people. It is working with people socially. It is working to build alliances and to move forward. Also very good for job prospects. And lastly, we have the past. And in the past, you can see an older woman looking into the pond and seeing her younger self. But in a question like this card means that things that you've done in the past, things you've achieved in the past, maybe things that you've learned in the past, are going to be important to the job that's coming. That could mean a connection from the past, or it could be skills from the past. But be prepared for the past to play a role in the future. All three of them together are very positive. I am going to naturally draw another one because how could I not? And I've drawn the King of Cups, which is happiness. So I would say that, in fact, you have a lot of positive energy around your job prospects and should feel quite hopeful about them. I think that they should work out very well.
Okay, so my first card is the Lovers. And what the Lovers means is a choice. So, in looking at job prospects, that's very favorable. It means you may have some opportunities to choose between. The next one I have is the Ten of Wands. And this card is speaking about a situation that has not quite come into being. So to me, that's saying that you have some good opportunities coming to you. They may not have materialized yet, but they're coming. Now, the next card I've got is the Seven of Swords. And this indicates that there might be some sort of barrier in your way. So I'm going to have to pull another card here. But I've got the Queen of Lamps. So this to me says that if you're facing some sort of barrier, I would look to your higher self for how to overcome it. If there's something you have to do in order to get the job you're desiring, you're going to be able to achieve that. So overall, my reading is also fortunate.
Very good.
And I hope that's helpful, Edward. And blessings to you, Jared. And hello to Magical Mermaid. It's good to see you.
Yes, indeed.
And does anybody else have any questions for us? I want to add, you can always join us at our site, pagan.world, where we are making connections. We are also building a directory, and you can list your business, your group, your festival, whatever you would like there. And Eve wants to know if her craft business will be prosperous. You're very welcome, Edward. All right, and I think I'm going first this time.
Mm-hmm.
So the first card I've got for you is our friend, the Ace of Wands. I think it's this card's third appearance this evening.
I think so.
So this card is talking about bringing a lot of passion to the situation. You're clearly very passionate about your business, and you're bringing that energy to it. And then we've got the Two of Swords, and this is talking about working together with people. And I usually see that this card may represent an alliance rather than a friendship. This may be a relationship that is more one of mutual convenience than friendship. But there is someone, either you know or you will meet soon, that the two of you together can be mutually beneficial to each other. And then finally, I've got Temperance, and this is an absolutely beautiful card. And what this means is taking many different pieces and pulling them together into one whole thing that is much greater than the sum of its parts. And I don't know what kind of crafting you do, but I'm thinking that may represent your art form. And I'm going to draw one more card. And I've got the Magus, which is telling me that you have the ability to manifest what you want in this situation.
Very
So,
cool.
yes, you can manifest prosperity for your business.
So for me, the first card that I have drawn is the Two of Lamps. And the Two of Lamps is building new things from old things, kind of similar to Temperance. It is starting new projects, building them from a variety of ingredients brought together to boil in the pot, which you can see the lady doing in the card. And as with anything that you boil in the pot, those different things will become a single stew, I guess we would say. And it's saying that this is a new beginning, but it's drawing on a lot of things that have been there for a while. And this is important. With it is the Princess of Lamps. And the Princess of Lamps is the use of magic and psychic skills to advance your goals. So it's saying that as you go forward with this project, use what magical skills you know, what manifestational skills you know, to help yourself to move forward. You'll find that there are many things you can do, and you know how to do them, and make sure that you do. And with that, as our final of the first three cards is the Ten of Cups, happy family, happy situation, and it's basically saying that this should in fact be quite prosperous for you. I am going to draw another card because nobody would know who I was if I didn't. So we've drawn the Hermit, and I understand the Hermit as being a person who is in complete control of their skills and knows how to use them. And this kind of goes along with what we were saying about the Princess of Lamps. It's saying you are ready for this, you're equipped for it, you know what to do with it. Take the actions, they'll have good outcomes. So there you go.
And Magical Mermaid says, yes, the world needs more original crafters and artists. I couldn't agree more. You're very welcome, Eve. And Magical Mermaid has gifted us with a whole bunch of emojis.
Yes, including Corellian rabbits. Yay.
Is that, I thought, yes, there are rabbits and a magic 8-ball. I had a
Yeah.
magic 8-ball when I was a kid.
I've had I don't know if I had one as a kid, but I've had one as an adult. And
Yeah, I rather liked it.
Yeah.
Until someone told my parents it was satanic and it was taken from me. I had a friend do the character of Swami Baloney.
Okay.
He did this at a burn. He was wearing a bathrobe, this ridiculous gold turban that came out this far, and carrying a magic 8-ball and offering to tell fortunes.
Very cool.
Oh, it was, yeah, Swami Baloney was incredible.
Reminds me slightly of Swami Vivekananda.
Yeah.
Do you remember Swami Vivekananda? He was a spiritual advice columnist back in the day, and would give basically humorous metaphysical answers to
No,
the questions.
I don't think I ever encountered
It was a long
him.
time ago. In Chicago, we used to have a magazine called The Monthly Aspectarian, done by Guy Spiro. And Swami Beyondananda appeared there. And I believe he appeared in a number of other places. And he was the agony aunt of the New Age set, for one better way to put it. But it was both a comedy act and at the same time, in its way, quite serious.
Hmm.
It was interesting. At least that's how I remember it. It's been a long time ago.
No, I never encountered that. I wish I had.
The other really cool thing that was in the Monthly Aspectarian was astro weather. And I don't know if anyone is still doing that now or not. Guy Spiro passed into spirit long ago. But I believe astro weather initially continued anyway. The Monthly Aspectarian was originally and primarily an astrological magazine. And Astro Weather was basically a daily astrological guide of what was happening, not from the sun sign perspective, but from the holistic perspective. It was quite interesting.
Hmm. That sounds interesting.
It was.
Does anyone else have a question for us? Eve says
Thank
she
you.
loves the midday.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
I enjoy midday. Unfortunately, I can't always catch it, but I do when I can.
Now, this week we've been speaking about the spiritual contributions of the different Corellian ancestors to that spiritual path. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Lady Crystal, who is not yet an ancestor, but has had major spiritual contributions to the development of the tradition.
Okay, now we've got two questions. Jared wants to know, is that how would I reconnect to the craft again, Jared? And that's not really a tarot question, I don't think, although we could do a reading for you, but
Well, I think it depends on the question. It seems like there might be a word missing. Okay, and Jared has said yes. It's how to do that. Well, we can draw some cards and give some advice at the same time.
yes. And Magical Mermaid wants to know, do you guys do anything special to your cards when they are new? Well, I pulled the plastic off.
I'm
Sorry.
I'm kind of that way myself. I cleanse them and I charge them to me, but I don't do anything dramatic about it. Some people like to sleep with them under the pillow for 3 days or what have you. I was never one of those. What I do is I start using them immediately.
I do a cleansing. I will probably, I like to smudge my cards when I first get them.
I tend to use visualization, but for the same purpose.
And I usually get a nice bag to keep them in because I like pretty tarot bags.
Am I going first this time, or are you? I've lost track.
I think you are. You spoke first, so you're going first.
So I've drawn 3 cards, but first I want to take a moment because you just mentioned pretty tarot bags. And this is the bag that I keep this tarot deck in. You can see it has my I voted sticker stuck on it. And it's a blue velvet bag. In this bag is the first tarot deck I ever had, which was a gift from my mother. The bag, I believe, as I recall, was a gift from South Africa. But you know, it's several years old, and I believe that is what is the right history for that particular bag. But I have many tarot bags. So our first card is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is happiness and also emotion. So with the question of how would Jared best connect to the craft again, involve your emotions. Make an emotional connection. That is the first piece that I have for you. It's followed by the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is achieving something that you have wanted. And it certainly suggests that if you wish to reconnect, you will successfully. And then we have the King of Swords. The King of Swords says that you haven't made up your mind. This is still an open question. But again, I would say that in answering it, use the emotional connections, because that will have value here. I'm going to draw another card. I've drawn Temperance. We had Temperance earlier. So understand that if you reconnect to the craft again, it's not going to be like it was before. It will be a new journey on a familiar road. The Temperance card is bringing different things together to create new outcomes. And you can see in this card, if I can get her properly in front of the camera, you can see that the figure is holding an egg. The egg is just beginning to crack. And on one side, we see a dragon. On the other side, we see a goose. And of course, the design, which was created by Lady Bitterwind, is to suggest that what is in that egg could be either of those extremes or something else. You don't know until the egg is opened what necessarily is in it. But you're bringing different things together for a new and different experience. And when it opens, you will know what it brings. We also have the Queen of Coins and the Lovers. The Lovers again says, it's a choice you haven't really made yet. You're still working on it. But the Queen of Coins is prosperity. It can be satisfaction. It's a good positive card. So everything looks very positive if you do choose to go forward with that. And as I say, I would say to focus on the emotional aspects of that connection as the best way to go forward.
All right. Well, let's talk about emotions. The first card I've got is the Queen of Cups. And this is about emotional satisfaction. And I'm going to say you're feeling a strong emotional pull to reconnecting with the craft. And the next card I've got is the Nine of Lamps, which is basically saying quit overthinking and let the situation unfold as it will. Then I've got the Princess of Swords, and that's talking about precise communication. And then I'm going to pull one more card, and I've got the Four of Wands. And this is talking about making a connection with someone. And so that someone could be a teacher, it could be a group. But I'm seeing encouragement for you to move forward with that if that's what you choose to do. And again, stop overthinking the situation. So I hope that's helpful. Magical Mermaid says she knows someone who practically baptizes their cards in each of the elements, including fire. And while I smudge my cards, I don't want them too close to flame or water, really.
You're not usually good for cards.
And also wants to know if we've ever used cards in ritual. I have.
I have also, and the way that I mostly do that is in certain rituals. I have been known to do basically this kind of reading. In that case, you would draw one card to be your omen, and use it as a way of bringing through a message from spirit. That's one way I've used cards in ritual. I've also done, for example, space blessings with cards, and that ritual is in the first degree lessons. But it's not something I do a lot of. But yes, I have.
And Jared, you're welcome for the reading. And I have a friend who will draw a card from the appropriate suit to lay on each of the quarters sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Edward says, I was called into astrology, which I enjoy. Is this open for me to serve in the future? And Rebecca asked, are you doing readings or teaching about the cards or a bit of both tonight? We're doing a bit of both.
Say that 3 times fast. A bit of both, a bit of both, a bit of both.
And Kevin says, hello, new here. Welcome, Kevin. We're glad you joined us. Jared says many thanks, and you are welcome. Magical Mermaid says awesome. Edward says, whoopsie, my screen froze, but we're just now doing a reading, so that's okay. All right. Well, Edward, the first card I've got for you is the Three of Pentacles. And this shows someone paying a great deal of attention to his craft. The way my light is on the cards, it's kind of hard to see tonight, but this shows someone doing a sculpture of the woman in the foreground. So I'm going to say, yes, the way is open for you to take up astrology again, but you are going to have to work on it. Then we've got the King of Wands. And this is talking about your passions. So is this, I'm feeling like you are passionate about it. And then I've got the Seven of Swords again. And that's talking about there may be some difficulty in front of you. But then I've got the Six of Wands, which indicates getting everything you want out of the situation. So yes, you can do it. If you're facing difficulties, you just have to persevere and work through them.
So the first card that I got jumped out of the deck, and it is the Ace of Lamps. The Ace of Lamps is spiritual guidance, spiritual direction, and it suggests to me that this is a very good thing for you to do, and that your higher self is directing you towards it. Why in particular that is, you'll have to find out by doing it, but that it will fulfill a spiritual purpose for you beyond just enjoying it. Now we also have the universe, or I'm sorry, judgment. We have judgment. Judgment is getting something you've worked for. So yeah, you may have to work for it, but you certainly can, and you certainly would have a good result with that. We have the moon. The moon is putting your spirituality into practice. So it's not something to just know, but something to do. And then we have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is saying that, yeah, it might not be, might take some time to put it into full use. You may not have have everything ready right now. You may feel held back right now. But let's draw another card. And we've drawn the Princess of Lamps. And the Princess of Lamps says that in the immediate future, you may find yourself having to push through that barrier to really move forward with it, but you will move forward. And it looks very, very positive overall. But there is the Eight of Swords, which says that it may not be something you have as much time for as you would like. It may be difficult to exactly put it into practice at first, but it's coming. And it's something your higher self has drawn you towards. So by all means, you should be able to do well with it.
I hope you find that helpful. Let's see. Magical Mermaid asks, do you have a favorite deck? Well, I mean, you created this one. Is it your favorite deck?
Yeah, because I created it.
Yeah.
Some other decks that I enjoy. The very first deck I had was called the Hoi Polloi. In fact, I was just showing it. It's still one of my favorite decks. It's a Rider-Waite clone, or a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but it has its own unique quality. It looks very much like stained glass. So I've always quite enjoyed that. The other, another one I like is the Morgan Greer, which is also a bit of a Rider-Waite clone, but it also has its own very definite character about it. Those are some of my favorites.
You are welcome, Edward. Well, I'll tell you, when I got the Infinite Tarot deck, it literally hid my other decks. I was still working with them myself. For myself, doing my daily tarot pulls with it, and someone called me needing a reading, and I was looking for the bag that I keep my tarot decks in, and it was not in the drawer it's supposed to be in. And I looked everywhere, and I finally said, okay, I've got this new deck. I'm still learning it, and I may even have to refer to the book, but I'll read for you out of it. And I went on to do several readings with this deck before I found my tarot bag behind some furniture. I have no idea how it got there. So I just feel like this deck claimed me.
Yep.
So Kevin has asked us, can I get some general insight on the next week? We can do that. Because this is a 100-card deck. It has an extra suit, and it has extra cards in the major arcana that I was still learning when my friend called needing an emergency reading. And I'm not sure who goes first now.
I'm not sure either.
Well, I spoke first, so I'll go first. Okay, Kevin, so the first card I've got for you is the Eight of Wands. And here we've got two people who are running in the dark. And what this says is there's something you're afraid of, but it may not be as bad, and it probably isn't as bad as you think it is. And the next card I've got for you is the Four of Lamps. Lamps is a suit of spirituality. And we've got a woman gazing at the moon here. And this is talking about working on your own spiritual skills at this point. And then finally, we've got the universe, which is and you're probably not going to see it the way my lighting is tonight, but it's not a black card. It actually shows the starry sky. And the universe is talking about getting everything you desire. It's also could be the end of a cycle, but it's a very fortunate card. So I think the next week is going to be a good one for you.
So, first card I have is the Seven of Coins. The Seven of Coins is basically slow but steady growth. It's moving into the future. It's building a future, and considering all the things you want for that future, it's watching the field grow. With it is also the Two of Coins, which is being very busy and learning a great deal. And finally, we have the King of Coins, which is money and the ability to make money. So I'm inclined to think that this question probably has to do either with money or with work life. And either way, these are very positive cards for that. And I would say that it will be a good, productive week for you. Let me draw one more, because as I always say, nobody will know it's me if I don't draw one more. And we've drawn the Nine of Pentacles. So all of our cards, all the cards I have drawn are pentacles or coins for this question. The Nine of Coins is standing on your own 2 feet, using your own skills, being a master at what you're doing. So I would say be very confident going forward into next week. It will go very well for you. And I would imagine it will be prosperous for you. And there you go.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on the end of the hour, so I'm going to say we've got questions from Rebecca, from Anissa, and Tammy already in the chat room, and we are going to close it out after those. And Rebecca says, I have a second interview for a position I really want on Tuesday. Would you pull a card or two for me? Thank you. And adds, I'm new to your page as well. Thank you. And I'm glad you found us, Rebecca. And Joanne says, such a pleasure being able to see both of you. Thank you.
Oh,
and
thank
it's
you.
good to see you, Joanne. And it's your turn to go first.
I want to say hello to Joanne. It's good to see you. So the first card I have is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups, you can see, is a nice, happy, social card. And it represents a good, positive experience. So I would think this interview would go well. with it is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is victory after hard work. So it will go well, but there's still work involved. And you will feel, you'll feel yourself putting out that work, but the outcome looks very good. With that, we have the Magus, which is getting what you want, getting what you've chosen, making your will manifest in the world. So I'm inclined to say that if you want it, you will probably get it. I'm going to draw one more card. And I've drawn the Magic card, which is a pure white card. And this basically says that you have the ability to have what you want in this situation. So focus on what you want, use your magic, conscious or unconscious. It looks to me like it will go very well.
So the first card I've got is the King of Lamps. Lamps is a suit of spirituality, and this card is talking about getting what you want by being disciplined, and I don't think organized is the right word, but if you've got to do any preparation for this interview, do it. Whatever you need to do to be ready, be sure you do it. And then I've got Fortune. And this means that you're going to get a boost from the universe. And then I've got the Prince of Lamps, which can sometimes, this card can mean that what you want isn't necessarily what you need in this situation. But then I've got the Two of Cups, which is a fortunate card, and I'm going to draw one more. And I've got the Ten of Lamps, which is also, in this context, a good card. So I'm going to say it will work out well, with a caveat that whatever preparation you need to do for this interview, be sure you do it. And I hope that is helpful. And then Anissa wants to know if the government is going to shut down. I'm tempted to say only if people are stubborn, but I won't say that. I'm just tempted to say that. If you're ready, you can go ahead. I'm still shuffling.
The first card I've drawn is the Six of Cups, which has to do with past influences, which kind of leads me to believe that it's probably going to be very similar to things that have happened in the past, that they'll play it for all it's worth up until the last minute, and then find a resolution. We also have the Seven of Coins, and we have the Five of Coins. And these are, I mean, the Seven of Coins is not a bad card. The Seven of Coins is creating the future, which of course is what they're doing. But the Five is saying that nobody's really going to be happy with this. So I think they're probably going to work it out before it actually closes down, but I don't think anyone's going to be happy. Let me draw one more because, you know.
Yeah.
The stars. I've drawn the stars. The stars is spiritual influence. In a question like this, I would take it to say that the outcome will not be not be the horrible outcome it could be. So there we go.
Well, the first card I get is Justice. So that tends to be a positive outcome. Then I've got the Four of Wands, which indicates some sort of partnership, which would indicate that some sort of coalition forms that gets something done. And then I've got the Body, which can indicate unintended consequences. And then I pulled Death.
Alrighty then.
Which of course means transformation. So yeah, I don't see it closing down, but I'm thinking we're going to get an 11th hour deal, and
Again,
it will not be as well thought out as it should have been. And when they get into the nitty-gritty of the wording, they're going to find out there's some unintended consequences that will have to be rectified.
yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. I believe we have one more question.
We do. Tammy is asking us for a general reading.
Okay.
And let's see. Kevin has said, sounds great. Thanks. Rebecca says, I'm prepping this weekend. Thank you both. I love your all's energy, and the card pull was great. Magical Mermaid says, come to our senses moment. LOL, nah. And Joanne gives us a thumbs up. And a heart. Okay, so for Tammy, we are doing a general reading. I shuffled the cards. So, Tammy, the first thing I'm getting for you is our friend, the Eight of Wands. And what this is saying is, while there's something you're scared of, it's not as bad as you think it is. Then I've got Fortune. And this means you're going to get a boost of luck from the universe. Then I've got the Universe, which is also a fortunate outcome. And it can also indicate the end of a cycle. And I have pulled all these cards previously tonight.
I have drawn 3 cards, one of which I've drawn previously tonight. The other 2 I have not. So our first card is the Two of Lamps, which is building the future, bringing different things together to create a new path. So I think that generally speaking, you're going to find yourself treading on some new walkways, doing some new things as you go forward that maybe you've never done before, maybe some new experiences. With it, we have the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups says you're going to have a perfectly fine situation that's still not everything you want it to be. The Four of Cups is the Four of Cups is saying that you must not focus on what you don't have, but on what you do, because what you have is wonderful. but there are things that are not there. Don't let that distract you from the good that is. And with that, we have the Hierophant, which is spiritual guidance. The Hierophant says, pay attention to your spiritual guidance, let it carry you forward. You'll find that everything will go better. Let's draw one more. He said, as if one more was ever going to be. We have the Mind. The Mind says, the mind says to think about your situations, to think about what you want and how to get it, and not just to stumble through them, but to think about what you're doing and apply that thought. We have the Ace of Coins, which says that as you go forward, there's definitely prosperity there. The Ace of Coins is money, satisfaction, prosperity. And we have the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is saying that there may be some waiting to get that prosperity, but it's coming. And our last card is the King of Cups, which is happiness. So I would say that it is, I would say that things look good, but but you have to focus on the good that's actually there. There may be things that you want that aren't there. Don't let those take precedence over the good that is there. And there you go.
Okay. And Rebecca wants to know, where are you all located? Do you only do things online? Well, I'm in Tennessee. I do live readings here, but I do Tarot Thursdays live on Thursday night.
And I am in Central Illinois. I'm in Danville, Illinois. I am available for live readings, particularly through the local bookstore, Willows and Moon. And also, I do readings online if anyone is interested. If you would like a reading with me, instant message me or email me at donlewishp@aol.com, and we'll set something up.
You are welcome, Tammy. And as to what we think of the newer spirit cards or different themed cards, moon phase cards, and fleur-de-lis cards, if they speak to you, they work.
Yeah, that's about what I'd say. The more the merrier. I mean, sometimes you look at some of them and they seem, to some people, ridiculous, but to other people, they work beautifully. Like the Halloween tarot or the baseball tarot. And you say, now, why did someone feel we needed a baseball tarot? But, you know, for some people, that might be exactly what they needed. Or the cute little kitten tarot that I'm sure is out there somewhere, or the dog tarot. But for some people, that will speak to them very well. Or all the different oracle decks. I think the more we have, the better off we are. Not all of them will be good for everyone. But, you know, I can remember when there weren't many card decks available. I can remember when you could get the Rider-Waite-Smith, you could get the Tarot of Thoth, you could get the Marseille Tarot, and the first few Rider-Waite-Smith knockoffs, and nothing really else. And then slowly they began to become more available. And I definitely prefer having more different kinds available than not. You know, I like to talk about that meme that goes around every now and then where someone is saying, you know, trying to give the impression that you know, if we could have seen Becky buying her sage at Whole Foods back in the old days, we'd have been horrified. Which I often point out means they weren't there in the old days, because we would have loved to have been able to do that. One of the biggest complaints people had was how hard it could be to find magical supplies in those days.
Yeah, it could be, especially if you lived in a small town.
Yeah. And Megan asks if we've ever done readings with playing cards. I have. In many parts of the world, that's actually a more traditional form of reading than tarot. Depends where you're at and what you're talking about. I haven't done a lot of it though, because I've tended more to tarot.
I have not worked much with regular playing cards because I've just been drawn to tarot.
For me as a visual artist, the artistic aspect of tarot um, is very important. And as the cards have become more and more pictorial, it's made them better for me, which won't be true for everyone. People are different. Some people prefer the abstraction of just having a certain number of items on a card. One of the things people have mentioned about the Tarot of Hecate, which is the center of the Infinite Tarot, is if you look at the different pip cards, such as the Two of Cups here, there are no two cups in this card. Most other tarot still tend to use multiple examples of whatever that particular suit is. My thought is, it says it right at the bottom. Why do I need to show it?
And this is true.
Yeah, I made the pictures into pictures and kept them at that level. And I tend to like that aspect. Some of the cards I used to own a Japanese tarot, a Chinese tarot, all kinds of different cards. But one of the things that sometimes disappointed me is when they would do just for the pip cards, just the number of cups or swords or whatever, rather than making it a full picture. And I know it's more traditional, but I like the more pictorial representations.
And speaking of bags, here is the bag I use. And I don't know that I'm going to get a good image, but I have a triple goddess symbol.
Very cool.
All right. Well, we are well over an hour at this point. So I want to thank everyone for coming and hanging out and asking questions. And Reverend Don, could you close us out with a blessing, please?
Certainly. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you for all that you do in our lives. And we thank you for the art of divination and the psychic arts and spiritual arts which help us to heed the words of Spirit and to allow us strong connection to our higher selves. We thank you for meditation. We thank you for divination. We thank you for magic. We thank you for making our lives as full and complete as they are. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you with great love and thanks, and knowing you are always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence. And may you blessed be now and always.
Blessed be. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I will be back next week for Tarot Thursday, and my guest will be Reverend Brian. So have a good evening, everyone.